the FNL Network talk show.
All right. Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of the FNL Talk Show. I am Sean, and I am joined by these beautiful FNL angels. Look at these bevy of beauties. We've got the beautiful Bethany, the beautiful Eugenia, the beautiful Sasha. How are you, ladies?
Great, Sean.
And I mean, of course, they're smart, intelligent, spiritual. They are much more than beautiful as well. So I want to cover all bases as well. And we're going to be talking about a myriad of topics. So we're going to get to know everybody as well from inside and out. And I mean, all over the news. I mean, and I tend to be a little bit of a news junkie, and it's been depressing lately, is the debate that had happened. I don't know if you all watched it, but I did. And I found it like crazy, shocking, and depressing. I even had to stop watching it for a little bit. You know, Biden, 81, Trump, not a youngster himself, 79. Before this all began, most Americans supposedly polled. I mean, I don't know who does all the polling, but basically wanted two different candidates to begin with. You know, Biden's not popular. Trump was largely hated when he was in office. And here we go again. And long and short of it, you know, Trump lied a lot, but that's nothing new. And Biden really froze. And the main thing that Biden was supposed to get out of this debate, or everybody was hoping that he would prove that he was sharp and on top of his game, and that because of his age, that he could serve another 4 more years. And the concerns were that he was frail. And what everybody before the debate was saying from the Biden camp was, oh, you know, that this is fake news. They're editing the tapes to make him look like he's, you know, a little bit feeble, a little bit, you know, out of touch, but in all truth, he's really good, he's great to go, etc. So the debate happens. And anyhow, what do you guys think? I'm going through the whole darn thing, and I'm not even letting anybody else talk. So anyhow, like he froze, he looked a little out of it, like, you know, that's really what had happened. But I mean, I want to know if you all saw it and what you thought of it, before I just keep talking an hour about how horrified I was. You know, I see you nodding, Sasha. What was your takeaway on the debate? And do you think he should stay in this race? Because that's what's now going on, a big debate from the Democrats of what should happen. So a lot of people are saying yes, a lot of people are saying no. The New York Times said he should step down. What say you?
That's a really good question, Sean. I agree with you that it's just it's a really weird debate right now with the whole Biden administration and the Trump administration and everything that is going together. You know, like I think that in some sense, I think it's really important that that Biden just maybe should think of retiring, you know, and let someone else take the post, because I think this can actually really be a make it or break it deal for him, because it seems like he is a little bit out of touch. And it seems like he has some problems, and I don't want to go into what kind of problems they are, or if he's senile or whatever is in the news right now. But I think that it's really important that we have a president that is aware of what's going on, and it's not stumbling on the words all the time, because it's a lot right now. And with the Trump, I think that Trump has just shown himself as being Trump. You know, there's nothing new there. And I think that if he becomes the president, it's the same thing that's going to go again. You know, there's going to be a lot of different, it's going to be very polarized, you know, and people are going to be split. The country's going to be split. So it's not going to be a good thing for America. So I really do think that it would be good if Biden would step off, and then there would be another candidate instead of him.
And I think I saw you nodding, Eugene, Bethany, I'm sorry. What do you have to say about this, Bethany?
Yeah, so I watched the whole thing, which I was doing something else while watching because otherwise I would have gone insane. But he seemed very out of it. A lot worse than 4 years ago, which to be expected. He's aging, you know, it is what it is. But he had moments of clarity, and then there were just several moments where he was fumbling over his words, didn't seem to know what was going on, really, like just this brain fog, I guess, maybe. I don't really know what's going on there. I can't diagnose him. I am not a medical professional. And also, you can't diagnose someone based on what you see on TV. but he should have stepped aside a long time ago, like probably in January, to let someone else come forward and have a solid chance. But as far as Trump goes, I don't like him. Never have. He should not be president again. He has his own issues. And even watching him on the debate stage, I was like, dude, you're just showing off how much of an egotistical maniac you are. Like, this isn't helping anything. Like there was this one point where he was like, oh, I could get the Russia-Ukraine war solved. Easy, lickety split. I'm like, who do you think you are? It's like, you can't do that. So it was just several moments like that, and it was really frustrating to watch. It would be nice if both of those two stepped aside and we had some fresh blood in, but they're not going to do that, especially not Trump, because he just has it in. I don't know why he is just so persistent on just putting this in his legacy. I don't know what it's adding to his life, but he's going for it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it would have been nice if both of them had stepped aside, because honestly, both of them are old. Like, they're not that far apart. Trump's going to be like that in 4 years, I guarantee you. Like, there's not that big of a difference between the age as far as health is concerned. So
Yeah, it's only a couple of years different, really, as far as the physical years, but it did seem, as far as mental sharpness or acuity, that Trump was more on top of it at this particular debate. The next day, Biden, everybody's like, oh, he did great, but then other reporters have pointed out it was a teleprompter and he didn't have to think on his feet. And then some people have said, oh, Biden has good days, he has bad days, but that's not the exact question right now. Eugenia, I know in other episodes you've had a different take on things, of how you see things, so I'm curious, what do you think about the past debate and what Biden should or shouldn't do?
I say Sean for the president. We need a new candidate. I think you're very charismatic, very outspoken. We need somebody like that.
Oh wait, I have a lot to say about this, but I'll go last.
Okay. I watched the whole thing. I mean, usually it is a big thing because I have kids who are growing up in this country. And, we try to just tune in and kind of assess whatever is happening on all kind of levels. I try not to completely stay on one side or the other of the politics right now. Being Russian and living in the country where we are, I feel like encouraged to just be polarized and nobody can talk about politics. And if you talk about politics, there were so many chats in, my communities that were happening, and it just creates so much drama. So it is a really hard topic. I think it's all about what's happening behind the scenes in America, why we created wars. I mean, I can understand that political, I was actually working with Hillary Clinton's campaign, just trying to educate myself at that time if a woman can be a president and whatever happened or not. I think, politics is a corrupt game. There's a lot of elements that go into being a politician. Once you're a politician, there's already, like, so to say, you take out on a lot of things like an actor, so to say, and you just have to do so much research. I think as Americans, we just have to be so educated and research everything, what is happening behind the words. Obviously, I think it was a shame for this country. I never saw anything like this. In my country, I've seen everything. I've seen drunk presidents who run forever, corruption. But, moving to America, of course, you have this ideal American dream. I think anybody in their heart, like as people of this country, we all have this ideal belief that this is a democracy, and that's why we all move here, and that's why we support immigrants. And now immigrants are kind of like a shameful word. There's a lot of stigma created on that, a lot of witch hunt. It is really hard. I think it's not about the debate. Obviously for me, it was a joke. Trump would use the words like he always uses. I feel like I have a better vocabulary than he does. Like, I'm great a little bit from America Great Again, and this is amazing and triumphant. That's why my friend who imitates him is like a perfect comedian, and I'm sure will get hired. Unfortunately, if he is in the presidency, and I don't like to celebrate that. Unfortunately, I work with a couple different candidates as well. Went to the Senate, just doing all my research that I can, and they say American people want a leader who is charismatic and dramatic. Not somebody who is boring. And unfortunately, a lot of left candidates are not people who bring this drama, where on the opposite side, Trump is somebody who will always bring the drama, So if you look at politics this way, I understand what had happened. I think it is not okay in Biden's position to run the next 4 years. It is not okay to be unhealthy. And I've seen it happen again in my country and some other countries. We don't want to be replaced by AIs who would create nuclear war, for God's sake, somebody who has more intelligence and artificial though. So, it is a big concern. I think every American the next day just woke up in a state of shock. At this, we can agree. It is really scary, but I do have hope in humans that we can put a lot of research, put critical thinking. It is that type of time, where unfortunately we don't have a leader who I personally can say like, okay, I completely believe in the values that stands for anything that I believe in. And yeah, I'm concerned for, the future of my kids and where it's all gonna go.
Sure. To me, that was a lot, and I agree with a lot of pretty much everything you said. I think Biden has a great team behind him now, and how on top of his game he is on a day-to-day basis, none of us know, to be perfectly honest. My interpretation, I don't know him individually, so I can't speak for him or about him, but it seems like he's a family man. It seems for a politician, he tries to be a good person for whatever that is, seemingly from the outside. Whether he is or he isn't, I don't know. Prior to the debate, I definitely wasn't excited, about his candidacy. But, I definitely was supportive of him. And, I was, definitely planning on voting for him. Now I do, like I said, am kind of a little bit of a political junkie where I watch a little bit too much news and other, comedy shows like The Daily Show and, Bill Maher. And Bill Maher for a while was saying, because, sadly, it seems like, from watching the news, now basically 20 to 40,000 voters make the determination of who's president. So it's a very small in the middle of undecided voters who really determine who the president's going to be. And kind of to your point, Eugenia, I think really the presidency is decided by television, and the Dems need to learn that it's going to be whoever makes good TV. And to your point, Eugenia, I think with Hillary Clinton came across as an angry lesbian, and that's why she lost. And everybody watching couldn't believe that, like, oh, this buffoon who made fun of cripples and who made fun of immigrants and, is accused of rape, there is no way he can become president. But he made good TV. And that's what Trump, became president the first time. And now when you have a guy who looks like he's turning into a zombie at a debate versus, this angry, energetic person, and that's the only two choices, and they're going to play those little clips over and over and over, I think the Democratic Party is doomed. And I think Joe has no choice but to step aside. And I think it's for the health of the party. And if I was the Democratic Party, because I think it's all about, TV, you go with a swing state, like they said, the governor of, Illinois is very strong, maybe take somebody like an Abrams as the vice president because she was able to swing the Senate. So bring in those votes, for, Georgia or wherever they're most needed, or the Midwest, wherever it's needed, with Whitmore or whatever as the second VP. And you make it like a wrestling match because that's all the American public wants. And you have them yell at Trump 24/7 on the news right before. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 months before election, because that's what America wants, American Idol. Sadly, because really, if Trump never listened to a daily briefing as president, was golfing every single day, do you need to know anything? And if somebody already was governor, are the qualifications the most important thing? If Ronald Reagan could have Alzheimer's for his second half and his wife ran the country, if Biden is zoning out here or there, so I say Dems, convince Biden to step aside and get a new, person to run. And the biggest thing, I don't even think it's about, like, because again, with the polarization, yes, I'm a Democrat. Yes, I'm a liberal. Yes, I like free stuff. Yes, I support the arts. But you know what? I would have supported Nikki Haley over Biden, like, or wouldn't be mad if she had won. If it was like a Haley Biden and she won, I wouldn't be like, oh my goodness. But with Trump, he's saying he wants to be a dictator. He told people to march onto the Capitol, and then they did. And then they said to kill the vice president. We do not know what this man is capable of doing or how far he is willing to destroy this country, and who will not stop him for their own personal greed. And how do you take that back? He's put the judges in power to allow him. He now has the power to wipe away all his criminal convictions, whether they're dumb or not. The one he got convicted in is dumb. Assaulting, the Capitol and trying to kill congressmen and trying to kill your vice president, not such a dumb charge. Not so dumb. Now, did he do it directly? No. Did Charles Manson? No. But Charles Manson went away for life. So, and we want that to be president? No. So these are all my takeaways on this. So I hope Joe, steps aside, supports somebody, and they make this into a big media bash. And I think they can. I mean, but this is a big, I was at a liberal party and yesterday, and, like other liberals were all keyed up. No, we have to stand behind our guy. I'm like, he's going to lose. And so to me, the Republicans are very good at doing whatever, seemingly very good at doing whatever it takes to win. And, to your point, Eugenia, like finding people who make good TV. You have nut jobs like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's on TV all the time because she makes crazy sound bites like, I'll bring a gun to dad and look at this little sassy pants or whatever. And because she said something that can, make the, 6 o'clock news, they keep covering her, even though it might be nonsensical, so I'm just like, that's what it, has turned into, a show. So there has to be a part of that with the, Democratic Party. And I think a little bit of the squad and AOC and Bernie Sanders and all that is part of that. But for this election, I just can't. I don't think the Dems can let Trump win. And I don't even mind if a Republican does, but I'm just like, don't let him win. I mean,
I think that, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Sean,
I'm done. I went on forever. But I mean, it's just like.
But I think that if we went in and said, okay, you know what, Joe Biden, he's getting older. There's some things going on with him and it's his health, that the vice president took over and then she came in to be president instead, because then we got a woman as a president for the first time ever. I think that would be amazing.
I would support it, but the problem is, since it's TV, it seems like nobody likes her. And I don't think America,
Well,
the female president, and like she comes across, she's a great prosecutor. And so she doesn't make good TV. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to be her. If Joe steps aside, I don't think it will be Kamala. Just because of she has the Hillary factor. She's not likable. She's a great prosecutor. And I have nothing against her.
There's some kind of scrutiny going on because every time there's a woman, there's some kind of hate to women. And
except
I
for
think
Nikki Haley, she was doing good. A lot of people who didn't want Trump wrote her in, even though she wasn't even on the ballot anymore.
Yeah, but like most of the women that I've seen that had that kind of it factor never got the chance to become president, never had that chance. And I think that's kind of sad.
Oddly enough, I'm going to say something that I didn't think of until this very moment. I think the Democrats are less supportive of a female candidate than the Republicans. Because when I think about it, Nikki Haley was supported in some of these like swing states or whatever with these or undecided states, where they were writing her in. And Sarah Palin, like people loved her, and she was didn't have really much going on upstairs. But I mean, they were supporting her very strongly as a VP before anybody in the Democratic Party was really pushing a strong candidate forward. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the Democrats voters would maybe still vote for a female president.
They would, but the problem is we need those 20 to 40,000 undecided, and they're people in the Midwest, pretty much, or the swing states. So that we're talking to those 20 to 40,000 people.
Yeah, there's some kind of scrutiny to women in general that's going on as well. I think it's kind of sad that we still haven't had a female president.
I agree. I mean, I think we definitely could.
That could be a really good option right now, especially as a tactic, I think that choosing a female president would be a really good way of doing it for the Democrats.
I mean, maybe Whitmore, I don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned something about like the Midwest. Here I am from it.
Yeah, what did you say?
I think part of the big thing too is bringing in those voters. When it comes to that, you need to have someone who's more moderate-ish, rather than like the leftist,
Liberal.
because around here, that's what people are afraid of. It's just the way things are in our area. People will assume, oh, they're a commie, they're gonna ruin the country, whatever. They said that about Hillary. Stuff like that comes across pretty common. So I don't think it's necessarily that they're against a woman, it's just who they're bringing forth. If they come across as radical, which women sometimes do come across more that way, because
That's
that
the thing,
is
as a woman, if you speak too much, then you're a bitch, like
yeah.
yeah.
So
And
there is extra
I'm just saying
scrutiny.
it, but yeah, and I think that's kind of sad, because a lot of women has a different way of, seeing things, and I think that could really help the country a lot to have a female president.
Well, what I also think could be a strong plus as well to not go with Kamala is if you take somebody who had nothing to do with this administration, you take all the fight away from Trump, because if you're a new guy, you can say you're going to do whatever Biden didn't do, because you can just lie out your wahoo like he does all the time. Whatever you want to say about, like, I'm going to do totally different with immigration, I'm going to do totally different with Russia, what is he going to fight you on? There's no
I think it would be
politics,
amazing if they chose a person like Michelle Obama.
Oh, I mean, and she would win in a heartbeat.
She's so likable, and she has the support from Barack Obama, and and she's a very highly intelligent person, and she could make a lot of difference. So I think that could be a really, really good option.
I mean, if she ever wanted to, she would win.
I doubt she would want to, that's the thing. It takes a lot to be a politician.
Yeah, and that's what she's basically said. She had no interest, and people tried to talk her even to like if they had replaced even Kamala.
Yeah, but when it comes down to the future, and we're really in jeopardy right now, I think that maybe that could be an option. Like, again, I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that maybe she's gonna think about it, because Barack Obama, he can't do it. He's been president for 8 years.
Oh, well, that would be like a dream ticket for like the Democratic Party if it was to happen.
Exactly.
Or Oprah. I mean, either one, they would turn out like everybody in droves, every single woman would show up, and everybody of races, would show up, and that would take care of that 20 to 40,000. But who knows?
I think it would be really nice to have a Black female president.
I would support it, but I don't know. Well, talking about minorities, moving on, we just had June, which is Gay Pride or Pride Month, and I was thinking about it, which is kind of interesting. So I guess a lot of the Pride Month and the whole idea is to take away shame, because you have religion that, goes against, like saying that it's a sin and all this other stuff. So it's about self-acceptance and so forth. And I thought about it a little bit, because I was like, well, it's a little silly in one way, because, nobody really is proud of an actual sex act, whether you're heterosexual or gay or whatever. I guess it's just like about claiming your own sense of self and self-love more so than like pride. But but loving yourself is something that everybody can do and should do and so forth. And I'm sure there's something that all of us have to be proud about. So I'd like to just hear something that you all are proud about yourselves. Let's give ourselves a little pat on our backs, and now that we destroyed the back of Biden. So I'll start with you, Bethany, because you're right by me in a box. So what are you most proud of for yourself?
I think just my journey. So just being able to persevere throughout whatever has been thrown my way, because there's been a lot. But just being able to take what I have and make the best of it, I think has been important for me. And it really is a source of pride, because there are a lot of different things that I've done that are cool or fun that I've done here and there. I have a lot of great friends that I'm like proud to have, but I think really just the can-do attitude, I guess. Like I started making my own clothes at 14 because nothing fit me in the stores. And instead of like moping about it, I just went ahead and started making my own stuff. I was sick of like having to take things apart and tailor them. So I just started making from scratch. And that's really been something that I've enjoyed and kind of run along with. But, you know, just kind of that attitude has been important for me, is just if it's not gonna, if I don't fit in a box, or if I'm given something and it doesn't fit what I need it to be, I make it fit what I want it to be. So I think that has been good for me.
I love it. And what about you, Eugenia?
Well, I don't know how about you in New York, Sean. How about you guys, Bethany in Kansas? I know Sasha is in Los Angeles. I mean, here it's a huge celebration. I've been looking down the hill and the whole city is just full of concerts. There's so many artists that, come out, they build a stage, they celebrate, the whole month, all the small businesses, you can see signs like Pride Month, in support of that. So I feel because it is a city kind of, of artists, you can really feel the heat, so to say. I love it. I think we really needed this kind of a uplifting spirit, especially in times like that. I could see people coming out on the streets, being together. And it's beautiful, it's a celebration of all of us coming from different backgrounds and just, being together no matter what, especially in the polarized climate as we have. So yeah, that's been really exciting, to show my kids and kind of be part of this movement, especially in this country. That's what I'm grateful for in America. I am very proud of a lot of things, especially supporting social causes. I am a huge supporter of like anti-human trafficking. I started modeling as a child, and my boss, Katie Ford from Ford Models, she sold the agency and works full-time with like Freedom for All. It's an amazing organization, really on top of it. And, since I do stand-up comedy, I created a show called Models of Comedy. We do all the shows, donate money, raise awareness. We just wrote a book with 10 other models, finished it, literally just had like a marketing session. So we want to do something for September, hopefully, for Fashion Week, and spread more awareness, So I love having the community. Sometimes, especially in this business, I don't know how about you guys, but I don't always feel like it is based in community. I feel like Europe is much more like based on sharing resources. Sometimes in LA, I don't feel that way. So it is very important to me to bring other people together, when you're on top, to give people at the bottom. It's not like a race to be, individualized, so to say. Really proud of that, creating that community. I'm proud as well of supporting the wild nature. So my dad was a scientist, and working with nature is very personal to me. We just went to Washington. We're trying to pass the bill. It's called Cry for the Wild. There was an accident that happened in Wyoming where the wolves were tortured, especially like an 8-month-old puppy who was drugged across the streets. And it is a normal thing that happens a lot of times in the Midwest, where the wolves are, just designated to be killed no matter what. And I think it is cruel, especially, in the times like this. Supporting nature is the first step, for those who can't defend themselves. I think it was very important. I think they're going to rename the city after this wolf. They want to name it Hope. That was the wolf puppy, and we're trying to change the legislation. I'm really excited about that. Amazing film that my friend Ashley Evis, who did a film for Disney, about wild horses, doing a film on that. So really excited about that. And I'm very proud of my kids. My son just passed his driver's license. He's 16, really good kid. And just educating them and continue to educate them about good values and, not something like greed or, or wars or whatever it is. I'm trying to raise them humans who are respectful and kind.
Yay. All right, Sasha. What
Oh
about
my God, I just loved
hard
everything.
one to follow?
It's like really, really nice.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, what I'm proud of is that, you know, I've done a lot this year. You know, I moved to LA in October last year, and that was like a big step, you know, from moving from Denmark and then to LA and getting to know people and, you know, jump in and finding in a community and, you know, meeting up with people and becoming friends and stuff like that. So I would say that I'm proud of being very strong and also having that leap of faith, you know, jumping into things and not being afraid of it, not being controlled by fear. And I think that's really, really important, especially in this time of age, you know, like where we're living right now in the climate of politics and, you know, it just seems so fearful with wars going on everywhere in Europe and in Israel, you know, like everything that is going on. I think that it's really important to still being optimistic and having that leap of faith and still believe in love. You know, I still believe in love. And I think that, you know, love between everybody and no matter gender or sexuality or whatever, you know, like that we can all just love each other, you know. And I think that for me, I was thinking a lot about the whole LGBTQ plus community, about the pride and everything. And I was thinking that I hope someday it's going to be like we don't need that anymore because we all are part of that, you know. We're all a part of that rainbow and we all are unique and different in our own ways, you know. So I think it's really important to just jump out, you know, be yourself, love yourself. And when you love yourself, it's easier to love others, you know. And it has to come with love. Everything begins with love. And I think that for myself, you know, like when I met people, sometimes I was just like, oh my God, you know, like learning a new language and trying to be fluent. And sometimes it's like, I don't know about you, Eugene, because you're from Russia, and I'm from Denmark. And sometimes you know, I can think in Danish and then trying to translate and, you know, so it's sometimes it's just like, oh my God, you know, I feel so stupid. I feel just like a child. But I think also that opens up something, you know, when you're childish, you see the world in a different way, you know. It's a more childish way of seeing things. And I can point at flowers sometimes like, oh, what is that kind of flower called, you know, because I haven't seen flowers like that here in LA. So yeah, I think that that's something that I'm really proud of, just to jump out and have fun meeting people and also just, you know, figuring things out, you know. I do believe that, and a lot of people are really good people. And I think that's also really important to remember that the goodness in everybody.
I love it. I love love. That's awesome.
Love, yeah.
And I really do think, you know, people probably wouldn't hate if they're fulfilled and if they're happy. You know, if they felt loved about themselves or other people, then they probably aren't really worried that much about other people, you know, to hate or to be bitter or to not be forgiving or what to have, you know. So I think it does kind of start, you know, from within and then, you know, your inner circle to then go outwards. So I do love love. So that is excellent.
And also from coming from other people, because when you come from love and you start expecting love from other people and you see the love in them, you know, it becomes a different kind of environment to be in, not thinking, oh my God, that person doesn't like me or that person, you know, like, because that's fear again talking. And I think that a lot of people, they really do come with love, you know. And also with wars right now, that, you know, if we start realizing that we are so part of each other and everybody has, you know, differences, but again, we also have so much that we're, you know, similar with, and we're human being, you know, we have blood, we have a heart, we have a soul, we're all like connected in some ways. And when we start realizing that, I think that would help a lot. And we don't look at the other people like the enemy, you know, and we have to be careful with that person. We have to be careful, because that's living out of fear. And I think that in a climate like this that we're living in right now, it's important to remove fear and exchange it with love, you know. And as an immigrant here in this country, I really do think like that. And I see that from Americans, that some Americans are fearful of immigrants. And, you know, like I was at the gym today, and then some guys came over and they say like, oh, you fucking Russian, and pass by me. And, you know, because people think that I'm from Russia. And then I'm like, well, you know, that's not nice, you know, because a lot of Russian comes to America that are not a part of Putin, you know, but they think like that. Well, then you're from Russia, or you look like you're Russian. And so there's that kind of fear put into it, you know, and I think that's kind of sad. I didn't say anything. I just like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Well, pooey on them. That's what I say about that. They need
So
more.
well said. So well said, you know.
Thank
It's such a beautiful reminder.
Thank you.
Well, it's their loss. I mean, you know, and clearly they don't have enough love in their lives, you know, and yeah, and as
Again, fear, you know, like talking out of fear, like and the television, you know, sometimes with news are not reported, it's being created. And you know, a narrative is pushed out to be in a certain way, but you don't get the whole truth, you know, you get some of it but not all of it. And that just makes it different. And then you can't trust it, you know, because then you start thinking, oh, maybe like that, and you build it, and it becomes such a different story than the original story, you know, because it's a narrative and it's created.
and you never know too. People project. So if it's a heterosexual male, he sees a pretty lady, he could fear that you're going to reject him. So before you can reject him, it's almost like a guy saying "bitch," you know,
Yeah,
or whatever
exactly.
else.
It's like,
You
where
know?
did that
So
come
who
from?
knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I just finished yoga, and I was like standing up and like walking, and it's like, oh, Russians, you know, I'm like, whoa. You know, that's kind of weird. Like, and it was not said in a beautiful way, you know, like we're more like, damn you, you know, coming to our country. And that's again fear, you know, and not knowing. I think that's really important, that we get more knowledge. So getting to know each other, giving each other a chance to really express ourselves. And you know, I think it's amazing that Eugenia, you're doing so many things, and you're out there, you're being a part of the community, and as an American you're there, and also as a Russian, you know. So it's like we need that, you know, the communication, and also to just explore each other and our stories and our narrative and what we come from, because that's our legacy, that's where we came from, and we can be a part of it and changing, because America is about a lot of different kind of people, you know. America was built of immigrants, you know, so we look back on almost everybody comes from different countries, you know, and moved here. Yeah,
I agree, and we just keep expanding.
exactly.
Yeah, and kind of to like both of your points as well, like about like everything expanding as far as, you know, different colors of different, you know, races, and also sexual backgrounds, and acceptance, and, you know, how it's now an entire month. You know, looking around, you know, the flag keeps changing with the, you know, the gay community. And at first it was like, you know, first of all, I think a rainbow really does cover everybody. I don't know why we needed more colors.
Love the rainbow.
But okay, add as many colors as you want. You know, I never identified with red or yellow or blue. But okay, some people did, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. There's like rainbows everywhere here in LA. You know, there's rainbows, and with the American flag, and it's just such a nice thing. And people are really so sweet to each other, and it's amazing, you know, to see that. And it's like a dance. It's like you know, it's almost like just seeing a musical when you walk on the street and you see people are holding hands and kissing and showing love. And, you know, I think that's really, really important. And it's also important for our kids, you know, for the kids to see that, you know, there's no limit to love.
Well, and I think a big mindset has shifted in like the last 10, 20 years. I remember when Ellen came out on her TV show and then she lost, the show. And then, 10 years later or whatever, she had like a #1 talk show. But it took like those 10 years. And now when you go to most of the Pride parades or whatever, we had one in New York yesterday, and it's all corporate sponsorship. Yes, they really just want money. How much do they really care? But, you see JetBlue, Citibank, Macy's, so now, everybody wants money from every community and from everybody, but that also does mean that there's some acceptance, there's some funding, as well. And kind of to your point, Sasha, I noticed that a lot of the attendance was really kind of like low. We wound up having rain yesterday too, but before the rain, because most of the parade had happened, less people were in the street, the attendance was a little low, it was kind of low energy, the parade. And I was thinking about it. I was like, why is this? And then talking to even like some friends and stuff, they're like, oh, well, now in New York, like each borough has a parade. It's extended for the entire month. And also probably like younger generations, they don't really probably even feel the need as much. It's not as big of a deal, as it was before,
Exactly.
So the acceptance is more and more there, which is a good thing. So I think as a species, we are evolving. Is everybody? No, like those Russian turd goers,
Exactly.
but, we are progressing. So,
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
that's more
Like
than
if you
not.
go to nightclubs, everybody's there. They can be bisexual, they can be homosexual, they can be whatever, and straight. And so everybody's just, they're just there, they're just being, human, having a human experience. And I think that's really, really important. And you see that a lot when you go to clubs now, more than before.
Yeah, and it won't be everywhere or everybody, but as we were kind of discussing, we can all just do our own part, lead with love.
Yeah.
A couple of things, I'm kind of proud of, and I'll share, and it kind of like ties in with what you were saying, is reconnecting with like some family ties that weren't as strong or as good from taking different courses and self-help. I basically learned if, you're not close with someone and you want to reconnect, just, claim whatever part you played in it, take the blame, reach out to them, and then see, as long as there's not like, real hurt or current animosity, but just say, hey, sorry, I wasn't, there for you when you needed, or I didn't reach out enough. I'd love to see you. I'd love to forge a better relationship. And then more often than not, like as I've gotten older, I've gotten closer with my cousins. My father wasn't, that loving or there, when I was younger, but, I was able to make amends, with him, even though he was the one who wasn't there for me as a kid. But, that's healing, because then he passed, so I was able to do that, as well by being the, so-called, the bigger person. I don't want to like give myself that much, credit, but it's healing for both me and I'm sure, for him. And then also it's beneficial now, like even with my other family members, where just for whatever reason, we weren't as close, but just by, extending the olive branch, as it says in the Bible, or just extending a hand, you become closer. And then, to like your point, it's like love or friendship or just warmth or being there for one another. So it makes holidays, just regular occasions, friendships with your own family, your chosen family, what have you, all that better. And then, as like you had mentioned, Bethany, as well, kind of follow my own drummer, do my own thing, led me to coming, to New York and, made a career, and did pretty well and never needed any assistance. I've had friends like where their family had to bail them out or they didn't know how they were going to pay bills or had to move. And so knock on wood, don't want to curse myself, but everything's been fine. So far, so good. You go and like a little leap jumper as well, not from another country. So that'd probably be even scarier. So the two ladies on the bottom boxes, took even bigger leaps, but I took a baby leap, but I think it's working out for all of us. So we're all leapers and doing.
But it's all about healing, like healing the wounds that you had from your childhood or what you went through, like healing and also dealing with that. There can be a lot of trauma from the past that has to be healed, or wounds or scars. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, and that's all we can do. And then
Exactly.
enjoy life. And
Enjoy
talking about enjoying life,
Yeah.
we're coming up with a holiday. So the 4th of July is coming on up. So to celebrate our country and the independence and declaration. So do you ladies have any plans? It's supposedly a big travel day. A lot of people drive all over the place. A lot of people fly all over the place. I'm not going really much of anywhere. So are you going anywhere, Bethany? I guess I'll start with you and go round robin.
Yeah, I am not going anywhere. I am staying at home. Around here they have fireworks and it is really annoying because I hear it in my house from several miles away. They're still testing them, by the way, so I still know when they're testing them. They've been doing it for like a week. Why? But probably just gonna stay home with my family, look at the bunnies in the backyard, We have some cute wildlife back there. We've got a bunch of chipmunks, birds, lots of different types of birds, squirrels, of course, they're everywhere here, and then bunnies, which those are so cute. So I just love being able to watch those. So I'm probably gonna do a little bit of that, but that's about it.
Do they get scared from the fireworks? I would think they would. Like dogs.
They probably would, but during the day when there's no fireworks, that's when I get to see them.
Time bunny time. All right. What about you, Eugenia? What are you going to be doing for the 4th?
Yeah, the 4th, usually we have fireworks. I actually love them. Maybe because they're not in my backyard. We go to the beach and I just, it's a dream. Like coming from Siberia, I never got to celebrate anything. So being on the beach with fireworks, that's all I need, just having a hike in nature, maybe horseback riding, and then traveling to Greece. Actually, never been there, so I'm very excited to go the next day. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It finally, like 4th of July, I don't know how for you guys, but for me, it's like, okay, it's summer now. Now you can, like really don't be a workaholic like I personally am. I'm just like, okay, it's summertime. You can enjoy it.
Throw me in your carry-on. I want to go to Greece.
Okay, let's
I love the
go.
islands. Yes. I mean, it might be a big one because I have a big booty. Okay, Sasha, what about you for the 4th? What are you doing?
Oh my God. Yeah. Like as Eugenia said, I'm the same, for me, I've never experienced 4th of July. So
Oh,
it's my first time. I came here in October last year and it was close to my birthday because my birthday is in 13th of November. And I was like, oh my God, I really want to have the American flag for my birthday because normally in Denmark, we have the Danish flag on our birthday. So we use the flags everywhere and put it on cakes and whatever. So I asked my roommates like, oh my God, I want to have the American flag for my birthday. And then I was told, well, we don't do that. And it's like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, but you can wait until 4th of July. Then you can, use the American flag. And I was like, oh my God, I'm looking forward to that. So I bought a lot of American flags now. And yeah, and I really want to celebrate. And I think it's an amazing day. 4th of July is about the whole Independence Day and being, free. And so I'm thinking a lot about like the freedom to be who you are and to live how you want to live your life. And I was thinking of just going to the beach and chill and relax. The weather in LA is amazing right now and it's really, really hot. Maybe going to Malibu. I don't know.
oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm seeing an event at a country club for a couple hours, then coming home. My building has a nice roof deck, so I'll be seeing the Macy's fireworks at night from there. Which I like, but I mean, I'm not huge on the fireworks because I grew up in Florida and Disney has like some of the best fireworks and they like sync it with music and like lasers. So I was so spoiled. And now when I just see any other firework display, I'm like, meh. Because it's like never as good, like, as like that. And because even like, whenever I've seen the Macy's, which is a nice, display, I've never been like so close where I've heard the actual like music so well synced or, whatever, where it's like right there. Whereas like when I've been in a theme park, it's like blaring and the lasers, like, you're immersed in it. And I've never had that experience other than at the theme park. So anywho, but that's what I'm going to be doing for this 4th of July. And so
Sounds amazing.
And now, what I was thinking of, because it's just like movies, because I was like, wait a minute, I remember in the summer, because it does get hot, you'd always like look forward to like cooling off by going seeing like some sort of big blockbuster. And I was like just even doing like a Google, and there seemed like some big movies coming out. But just watching the news and seeing like everything's, I mean, I stream, so maybe I've been missing like some big movie that's supposed to be coming out, but it doesn't seem like there's something that like everybody's talking about. Like years ago, like nobody wants to go to the beach because Jaws came out, or everybody's talking about Star Wars or the latest, new movie or what have you. Like, do we still have these summer blockbusters? Is there any movie you're waiting for this summer, or did COVID just kind of kill it? I know we had Oppenheimer and Barbie and whatever. I don't even remember when they came out. But I'm like, is the summer blockbuster still a thing, or is it not really? Eugenia, you're in Hollywood. What say you?
You know, honestly, I was reading the LA Times, and just being in this epicenter of it, I feel like the industry is really in the crisis now. As humans, we need storytelling. That's how we connect, I mean, I love movies. I'm sure you guys can connect to that as well. Just experience going to the cinema. I think they will close cinema soon. Look, one of the blockbusters this year was like King Kong versus Gorilla, right? Godzilla. I mean, it was created in the 50s. Like, it's time to start doing new storytelling, new narratives, use our creativity. I feel it is just, I don't know, whoever controls the narrative or like greenlights all these blockbusters, but I think it is utter laziness just not to come up with new storytelling that can encourage, like Oppenheimer changed the world. It encouraged some sort of message. It was amazing. Even Barbie, like, hated, if you hated or not hated, it was original. So yeah, I just really do miss movie making and those human stories. And I do gravitate now towards more indie films, just because I connect to the human element in that, and morals. And there's so few of them here. Unfortunately, a lot of them are in Europe. Indie movie business need a lot of support as well. But I do love blockbusters. I mean, was just thinking about, if you drive in Hollywood every day, you think, oh my God, this is like a dream. It was something with values, and movies that have like morals, or like beautiful stories, something that inspires you to dream, to fall in love. And I just don't see a lot of it. I mean, everybody's talking about the Wolverine movie, but it's another Marvel creation. So I don't know, personally, I hope something original comes out soon.
That might be like the thing. You have to create, I guess, something that people want to see in order for it to become this like, huge hit or what have you. What about you, Sasha? Anything that you think is going to be happening this summer, coming out that you want to
It's
see?
good. Like, for myself, I'm just like, I saw the commercial for the movie with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron, and it's not in the movie theater, but it's on Netflix. And I was like, that looks really, really good, because it's dealing with the whole ageism. And I think ageism is a very interesting subject right now. And also to do with women, older women being attracted to younger men, and younger men being attracted to older women, and the whole dynamic in that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. And as well, I hope that it could be, opening doors and giving inspiration, and maybe, creating more content, creating more movies that are more about ageism, more about older women embracing themselves, embracing their sexuality, showing that older women actually has a voice. I know that there's been more of it, but I think that in some sense, we need more of that as well. We need more female directors. We need more female stories. And also just, I think that it's time, it's time to think out of the box. It's time to think in different topics and dealing with different things in life. So it's not all the same thing going on, the same story, just told in a different way. Because right now I would agree with Eugenia that we've seen it, old movies created again and again and again and again, a copy on a copy on a copy. So I would think that it could be really nice to do that. And again, being an inspiration, going out, writing, meeting people, networking. We live in Hollywood. I live in Hollywood too, and it's a great time to be alive, and it's a great time to meet people and create things. And I hope that that would be an option, later on, to create more movies that are interesting to watch.
And is there anything you're looking forward to, Bethany, or not really?
No, everything's a sequel these days, or a prequel of a prequel. Like every movie that I see locally, like when I look at the list, it's either a sequel of a kids movie, a prequel of a kids movie, or like some sort of prequel or sequel of like a well-known horror movie. Like we don't have a whole lot around here, but when we do get them, I'm like, but there's some big hits that come out here and there, but it feels more sparse over recent years. I think there is either this lack of depth in storytelling or just a lack of understanding of how to do it. Because I think when you really create this either world or this character that's just so fascinating and fun to watch, like what really draws me in is the world and the character. And of course, the message follows and it really adds depth to that story. But the way to draw people in is through something unique, something they can connect with, something they haven't seen before, or if they have seen it before, it's done in such a different way that it's just intriguing. And we haven't really been seeing that. I don't really know what the deal is, if it's like these bigger corporations like in streaming are taking over, and so there's this like push to get content out more quickly, or if it's like AI is trying to take it over, which I really hope they don't put AI in script writing, because there is no way they're gonna make that story interesting enough. We're all gonna know. Like it's like, yeah, you AI generated that thing. Like I met someone once who had their biography, like a short bio for like a resume. She did it in ChatGPT, and I was like, honey, we can tell. We all know. It's like no one uses that. No one uses those words. Especially not that combination. So, I hope that we get back to like human storytelling and just creativity, because that's what I want to see in the theaters. And I think that's what everyone who's a part of the film industry wants to be a part of, this just bigger, intriguing story, not just the business side of it.
Yeah, I think so much of it is just profit driven, in all the entertainment industries, from Broadway even, like The Outsiders just won Best Musical, but that was a book. It was a movie. Now it's a musical based on a book, based on a movie. Brought to you by Angelina Jolie. So, going in a whole circle, so it's all like interconnected. It's like very, kind of funny, but like sometimes every now and then, something gives me hope, not as necessarily as far as like blockbuster movies, but I don't know if you had all seen it, but on Netflix, since, Sasha had mentioned it, the series Bad Reindeer, to me was just like so unexpected, and supposedly based on a true story about this gentleman where he was stalked, and just all the twists and turns of this plot. And if it is all true, a gentleman made his own opportunity. He wrote this very unique story about unique situations, opened up a lot of vulnerability about situations in his life, whether some were made up or not, I don't know, I didn't fully research him, but it was a very original story with people who aren't normally seen on television. He's not, to me, typical lead male material. The woman wasn't typical, who was, the leading lady. And it was very independent, kind of feel to me. And then it was by a big distributor, and huge success for him. And I'm sure now he's going to have a great career moving forward, or at least temporarily, unless something messes up. So kudos. So I think it can happen. It just is more the exception than the rule. So hopefully there'll be now, some more exceptions, moving forward. But there is no exception that you three ladies are exceptional. So I'd just like to thank you all for your time and for all your thoughts, and hopefully we're all going to have the best summer ever. I'm going to hide in either a kennel or in your carry-on to go with you to Greece, Eugenia. And I just want to wish you all a great night, great summer, although I'll probably be talking to you all again at some point. And so thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Eugenia. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And everybody have a good night.